Hi, Leanna.
Hi,
How are ya?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. What are you drinking?
So I have an espresso martini.
Mm-hmm. An espresso martini. All right, boys and girls, let's make an espresso martini. First off, we're going to go 2 ounces of vodka. We do heavy pours here. We're only making boozy drinks. We're going to go a full ounce of Bailey's. You can use vanilla vodka as well, just putting it out there. And then we're also going to go a full ounce of Kahlua. Put that in. And then an ounce to 2 ounces, depending on how strong you want it, of espresso from my espresso machine. If you didn't use Bailey's, you can use simple syrup in with your ice, and you really want to shake the absolute shit out of this drink. It's very important to shake because you want a big, frothy, icy, beautiful head that you're only going to get if you use a lot of ice and you shake it real good. Honestly, for Leanne's, I could have added more ice. I could have shook for longer. It is what it is. We double strain because if you're single straining, you're doing it wrong. Get all that beautiful goodness into your martini glass, which I probably should have chilled if I'm being honest, but whatever. Garnish with 3 espresso beans, no more, no less. And there you have it. You have, oh, there's Leanna clapping for me, actually. An espresso martini. According to Google, who invented the espresso martini? The honor of this deliciously smooth cocktail invention goes to British bartending guru Dick Bradsell. He is credited with revolutionizing the cocktail scene in London in the 1980s through his work at bars such as The Player, 6 Degrees, and Match. There you
Very
go.
cool.
It's from London.
It's awesome.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's lovely.
So good.
Awesome. I probably should have said this before off the pod, but if you ever see your red light go off, let me know.
Okay, yeah.
Or if the
I'll let you
camera
know.
retracts back in.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Fantastic.
I'll
So,
watch.
Leanna, who are you? What do you do? What do you like? Where?
gosh.
Why are you here?
I don't know how to answer that.
Not at all?
So I'm Leanna.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 21. What do I do? I kind of just like, I'd say just go with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go with the flow.
Big flow
If
person?
I really had to like describe myself, that's it.
Big flow girl.
Big flow girl. Big, like, it doesn't matter. One day we're all gonna die. So, I kind of just do whatever. Go with it.
That's quite the nihilistic viewpoint.
Yeah, I'd say, I'm a 21-year-old nihilist. That's exactly how I would say it.
All right. What is a day in the life of a 21-year-old nihilist feel like?
The day in a life, for me, that's actually really hard. As of right now, I'd say it's always different, but as of right now, it's more just, I wake up, I listen to music,
Mm-hmm.
I like watching movies, like watching a lot of movies. I go outside, at least like in some way, shape, or form, even if I just kind of like sit outside, which I think is pretty important. I go to work, and right now I'm not in school, so yeah, I kind of just float around the earth, and that's it.
When you're looking for music to play or a movie to put on, what makes you go, yeah, that's what I'm doing today?
Music wise, I use my record player a lot, so it's kind of
I
whatever
just
I
bought
have.
one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, there she
is
is.
that Audio Technica?
It might be.
Yeah, that's the one I have, but it's like it looks kind of like that, but mine's black. So yeah, usually it's kind of narrowed down to what I have. It usually consists of like Frank Ocean, Mac Miller, which
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
Tyler,
I only
the
have
Creator.
Mac Miller vinyls.
Actually,
Those are my only vinyls.
I saw that you bought them.
Yeah.
Which ones do you have again?
I have Swimming, Circles, Divine Feminine, and NPR Tiny Desk. On
Yeah,
vinyl.
that one's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a crazy
Yeah.
thing to have.
I'm very proud of that one.
Yeah.
But my Divine Feminine doesn't work. It skips a lot. So I either got to get it fixed or figure something out.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That's super unfortunate. Mine so I have Divine Feminine as well, and it's like the pink thing, so it's cool.
Yeah,
vinyl. Pink edition, whatever. It's hot pink, so not crazy about it, but it's
the
cool.
The NPR is like really nice blue.
Yeah.
Circles is clear.
Yeah, my Circles is clear.
Yeah.
That was the first record I ever got. Or the first album, whatever, was Circles. My friends got it for me for my birthday, and like ever since, because music is like a huge thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so is Mac Miller.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's one of my favorite albums of all time, which you know.
As a 100%.
But yeah, so it usually consists of stuff like that: Mac Miller, Tyler the Creator, Frank Ocean, even old stuff. I don't know. In the morning, I like to play a lot of like kind of like older, like right down the line, or like something that I could just like dance to. It's so weird, but it's
No, no,
just because
no.
I try to like get myself going, and I know that's really good for you. And I don't know, I just dance. I literally dance around in my room. So it's just whatever the vibe is. If it's a more mellow day, if it's like rainy and stuff, it's circles for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Something super mellow, but it's always different. A lot of Kanye, Mac, yeah, Tyler, Frank. Cut that out. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Swimming was the first vinyl I ever got,
Hmm.
and it was given to me by a girl who was in my life at the time.
Oh.
But yeah, it holds a special place in my heart, definitely. But no, the dancing in your room, I can relate to, especially in the morning. A lot of times I have a roommate, and him and I have kind of opposite schedules. I'm
Yeah.
out of the house in the evening, and he's out of the house in the morning. So I'll usually just kind of like dance while I'm
Yeah.
making breakfast or whatever. But
Yeah.
I seem to do it a lot with movie soundtracks.
Oh my, I do that. Like
Like
La La Land gets me going.
not
Like
La
ba
La
ba
Land.
ba ba da ba da ba
It
ba.
listen, great movie,
I
great
didn't have to
soundtrack.
do that.
But no,
Yeah.
yes, you did. No problem. No, I usually do it with like animated movie soundtracks. So like I'll like wake up, make my coffee, and then I'll put on you know the bare
Oh
necessities,
my
the
God.
simple bare
Yeah.
necessities. The sun's shining outside.
It's
I'm
such a good vibe.
It's such a good vibe.
Yeah.
Or I'll do Coco soundtrack a lot.
Okay, I never watched that, but okay. Maybe I'll watch
You
it if it's
you
if
need
it's
to get
that good
on
that you're
that.
listening to the soundtrack.
There's one song called Un Poco Loco.
I know, isn't it like you make me un
Un
poco
Poco
loco?
Loco.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, you also have this like perfect view. So like I feel like this just paints the picture perfectly. Like sun is in, and you're like dancing around making breakfast. Like I literally
Mm,
have a playlist on Apple Music called Dancing Around While I'm Making Breakfast because
mm.
I do the exact same thing. But a lot of jungle lately. Do you know jungle? Have you ever heard Back on 74?
It's everything you just said sounds like something I've like someone has said to me
Yeah.
before, but I don't think I've ever like listened to it
Yeah.
myself.
Well, listen to it. And anyone that's watching, listen to it. And the music video too, it's just like it's one of those songs that's just like I don't know, it's like groovy in a way.
Mm.
Like you just want to dance. It's so weird. Like I just want to start like a flash mob outside.
I do that with Spanish and
Yeah.
Italian too. So I've been dancing to I'll wake up, listen to Suavemente.
Okay.
I'll wake up,
That's yeah.
I'll listen to Mais Que Nada.
That's
Sometimes
crazy.
the regular Brazilian version, sometimes the Black Eyed Pea version, depending on what
Okay.
mood I'm in. Um, I've been listening to Quizás, Quizás, Quizás recently, which is Andrea Bocelli and Jennifer Lopez.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, but all of that is a little. I wouldn't call any of that nihilistic. That seems like a beautiful,
Yeah,
happy,
that's kind of
wonderful
like, oh,
outlook
there
on
is
life.
purpose to life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, how do you like as someone who defines himself as a nihilist? How do you? I don't want to say justify getting to be that happy,
Yeah.
but like if you believe that that's who you are, how does that side of you feel about that? Or are you like at a constant battle with yourself of wanting to enjoy life, but there's something that's always saying, no, but it's fucking pointless. Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Stupid ass.
Yeah. So it's really weird because it's kind of different for me
Mm.
on different days. So it can kind of hit me in that way where it's like, oh, it's pointless. Like, why does this really matter? But more often, I'd say more often than not, it's kind of the opposite. So I kind of see it as like, oh, nothing matters. Like, it's kind of a good thing to me. It takes like a lot of stress off my shoulders. I used to be more of like I'd say like a worrisome person in a way. I still am here and there. Like, obviously, you get caught up in whatever, but it's kind of like if I were to like really connect it to the whole like waking up and kind of like having this beautiful morning and whatever, but then it's just like to kind of think, wait, why am I doing this? I'm gonna die. It doesn't even matter.
Mm.
It's kind of more in a way like, you know, none of this will ever matter one day, and like no one will ever remember me. And I mean, maybe some people will, but like
For a time.
for a certain amount
Yeah.
of time, and like time will go on and whatever, and it's like, why am I stressed about my driver's test? Why am I worried about school? And that's how I see it. And it kind of like liberates me in a way, if
Mm.
I'm being honest. It kind of like gives me a lot of comfort in so many things. It just makes like it's so corny to say, but it really is not that deep. Like it's just not. And
Just
that's like
never.
that's how I would connect it in that way.
Mm.
I'm like, I woke up, sometimes I'll sleep in and I'll wake up and I'm like, it's so late. I'm like, who cares? Like whatever. And I'll just, like same thing. I'll just put on music, dance around. I'm like, none of it matters. Like I'm kind of dancing in a free, like freedom. Nothing matters. Who cares? You
Mm.
know?
I'll do that. Like sometimes my morning dancing turns into a dancing or singing or popping my head on my like walk to work.
Yeah.
And I'll notice myself, and I've gotten better with it, but I've noticed myself if I'm in like a very crowded area, the whatever I'm doing diminishes and then just kind of stays in my head.
Yeah.
But recently I've been like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Like, do you know the song King of Spain by Moxie Fruitus?
I don't. Can't say I know that
Listen,
one.
it's a pretty stupid song. I'll be so for real.
Okay.
But it is so happy. Like
Oh.
it is just a song that just makes like just puts me in a good mood. It's not specifically a great song to be honest, but like it is one of the best vibe songs that I've ever known or listened to that my dad played for me when I was a kid. And I'll be like walking to work, I would just be like bopping
Yeah.
along, and I see these people like with like these like scowling looks on their face, and I'm like, I think that says a lot more about what's going on in their life than it does about mine.
Yeah.
I get to freely bop my head to this kind of stupid song and enjoy my freezing ass walk to work. And you're walking home from work, or you're walking for me to go serve your ass,
Yeah.
and you're scowling at a kid just bopping his head.
Yeah. That's one thing that kind of like, I wouldn't say like, I don't know how to word it, like rubs me the wrong way, is like I feel like a lot of the time when I talk about like what we're talking about now, kind of just, living in your own world and, not worrying too much about, everything that's going on. I wouldn't say like to a certain extent, because there's a lot of things that do matter. But, like in your day, like you're saying walking to work, bopping your head, like something that rubs me the wrong way, honestly, is like people who kind of look down upon that, because it's weird. Like, it's like, I feel like just saying to them, just listen, like, we're in the same boat here. We're all winging it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know anything more than you do, and you don't know anything more than I do, as much as we all have our own kind of like intricate beliefs, and we have our little like ideas and of what is going on in this world. Like, no one actually really knows. And it's like, shouldn't that kind of bring us together? Like, we're all literally on this little rock. And I feel like that's such a said thing. Now it's to a point where it's become like mainstream. It's weird, but it's like for real. We're all like, it's kind of
basic to
like,
say that we're
why
on
is
this
it
rock.
basic now to say we're on a floating rock? Because it's for real though. We're all like kind of in the same boat and no one really knows what's going on. So it's like, wouldn't that kind of like bring you together? Wouldn't it make you want to just like, yeah, we're all gonna die like together though, so it's fine. Like, no one knows what's going on. We have no idea how we got here. We don't know where we're gonna end up. And it's just like, just sing, like, dance around, like say hi to strangers. Like, why does it matter?
100%. And that's one reason that I've been trying to be better about, like, if I see someone in the elevator and like I have a reason to make a comment to them, I do it. Like, I
100%.
saw a guy in the elevator the other day carrying so many things. And I was like, dude, I'm just impressed.
Yeah.
And he was like, appreciate you, man.
Aw.
And I was like, have a nice day. What did the elevator?
But little things like that too, like, make such a big difference to people. Like, that's another thing that I always kind of feel like I'm enforcing to people around me, is like, you really have no idea what people are going through. And it's just like some of these little things, like even just sometimes at work, like complimenting customers, or like, cracking a joke to them when it seems like they're not really even in the mood. It's like, these things matter a lot, and I feel like we all kind of need that, especially nowadays. Like, everyone just kind of needs that. I feel like we're all just so shut out from each other. But yeah, I love doing that. I love talking to strangers. My friends will like kind of laugh at me in a way, or like think that I'm being weird. I'll like talk to people on the subway. Like, sometimes I don't really take the subway anymore, but when I did,
I mean, it depends on it. There's always, especially being a girl, like there has to be some safety aspect to it.
Oh yeah, there's a big line drawn between.
Yeah.
You kind of have to feel out the vibe of the person,
100%.
But
like, no, 100%. Like in off the you never know what someone's going through. Literally, I was serving a table last night. Older woman, older man. Got them a bottle of wine. We were chit chatting. Great people. They asked me for the bill. I brought the bill over. And the girl looked at me and she said, did you have like a tough 2023? And I was like, oh, buddy,
Yeah.
let
Yeah.
me tell
You
you a
have three
story.
hours. Sit
You got, yeah.
down.
And I was like, honestly, I look at 2023 as, I don't want to say 3 years, but three parts.
Hmm.
January to April, May to August, and September to December. January to April was awesome, was lovely, was fantastic. I was doing what I loved with the people that I loved, where I loved it. I went to Europe. I got to embrace myself in new culture. I got to try new things. It was awesome. I got the promotion that I've been working for the past year. Life was great. But then came May, and because of the nature of the promotion and moving me to a different place, and then just the kind of the way that things worked out, I lost my job, and I didn't lose the people, but I lost the situation in which I was forced to slash could see all these people that I loved in it daily. I wasn't able to do the thing that I loved anymore, and I wasn't able to treat the place that I loved for what I used to see it as
Hmm.
anymore. For That's probably not the best way I could
No,
have
it
said
makes
that, but
complete
yeah,
sense.
thank you. And I was just in a shitty place for months, and it sucked,
Hmm.
and I had to do a lot to bring myself out of that funk, to the point of moving out and moving away and starting over. And I look at September through December as a restart period,
Hmm.
and of redefining who I am, who I want to be, what I want to be. I found new things to fall in love with. I found new people to fall in love with, romantic and not romantic. Um, and I found a new me to learn more about.
Hmm.
It's been awesome. And I want to channel more of that third part of the year
Yeah.
into all of 2024, and just keep learning and keep bettering myself and everything.
Hmm.
And I told this woman this a little bit shorter than what I just said, because she had places to be.
Yeah.
But she was like, that was so lovely. I love your outlook on life, and I'm so glad that you were able to find this out about yourself.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, thank you. That's awesome. Um, Walked away, said, have a great night, guys.
Yeah.
5 minutes later, I'm walking by the table. They're still there. And she was like, Philip, right? And I was like, yeah. She was like, I'm sorry if this is weird, but can I give you a hug? And I was
Oh.
like, yes.
Yes,
Yes, of course
please.
you
Yeah.
can. 100%.
That's so cute.
She's like, she was like, just keep going. Like, it's going to work out with the
That's
outlook
so
that you have.
beautiful.
And I was like,
And she has no idea, like, how, how
yeah.
much of an impact that has.
Or maybe she does. And
Yeah.
maybe she learned somewhere in her life that doing things like that can mean so much to somebody.
Yeah.
Or she had no idea. Either way.
Either way, it's just as beautiful. Like,
Exactly.
the unknown and knowing, it's like, it's both beautiful. That's a really nice story.
And that's gonna be a story that I remember forever.
Yeah.
Because there's been a little part of me of recently that I don't want to say feel shitty, but like had a little bit of like an argument of character.
Yeah.
Where like being a good person and a nice person has been something that I believed about myself for a long, long time, and I always think that. And I was put in a situation recently where I wasn't trying to be an asshole, but because of circumstances, I kind of needed to be like firm
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit less open and loving, and more just like, this is the way this is. I'm sorry, but whatever. And if I didn't like it, and it
Mm-hmm.
made me question myself and be like, am I becoming an asshole?
Yeah.
And then I think about moments like that, and people that I meet and people that I know who see me as this lovely human being, and I'm like, I shouldn't take it as a hit on my character when someone else does me wrong and I defend my peace.
100%. I feel like that's also, like, I don't want to speak for you, but I guess I can say personally, like, I would say I'm a people pleaser. I don't know if
Mhm.
you would call yourself that, would you? In a way,
To an
or
extent.
to an extent? Okay.
To an extent. If I'm trying, I'm okay with being a people pleaser if the only thing occurring is someone getting pleased.
Yeah.
If someone is being pleased at the detriment of myself or someone else, I'm getting better and more cognizant of being like, hey, I can't do this for you
Mm-hmm.
because it's not good for all parties that are involved.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to separate that from my character, and to if like being like having boundaries does
Yeah.
not make me a bad person.
Yeah. I feel like that's a super like mature way to look at it too, because it's like the way you described it.
Mm.
If not all of us, then if it's having a poor impact on yourself, you know where to draw a line.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't know how to do that. But anyways, that's why I'm saying, as a people pleaser, I can completely understand what you're saying with like setting boundaries does not make me a bad person, like where
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to like protect myself. Um, yeah, that's something that I feel like you kind of learn like only through experience though, because I feel like we all try, like we don't ever, I think no one wants to like really disappoint people and you don't want to let people down and whatever. I think some people are better at kind of like putting up that, boundary and saying, or being firm, like as you said, and just kind of say, listen, like this isn't, this can't happen or this, whatever, and that. And yeah, it's something I feel like you learn only through like sacrificing so much peace to like please other people. I feel like I've done that many
Until you're
times.
out of peace.
Like too many times, yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's so many times I didn't know how to say no to
Mm-hmm.
things because I just kind of felt bad. Like weird things too. Like someone could ask me, "Hey, do you mind flying to New York for the night just to like pick up this thing for me?" Like, "Oh, I can't do it." And I'd be like, "Yeah, no problem." And then I would like
Yeah.
rip my hair out of my room like, "Why? Like, why would you say yes to that?" Like whatever. And then I would just, suck it up and be like, "No problem." Like, go and get it over with. Like as long as someone is fine and I'm not letting them down, it's fine. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping at one point I can get to your, you know,
Listen, I'm at a point of understanding that that's what needs to be worked on.
mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily there as putting it into practice.
Okay.
I'm getting better.
Yeah, but
But
you
it's
have that
still
awareness at this point, which is kind of already a big step.
It's a step. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's things that like but like that, and like I don't want to say that, like, to be completely honest, I think more people gaslight on a daily basis than they realize,
Yeah,
because
that's true.
I don't think a majority of people are gaslighters,
Yeah.
but like a lot of people gaslight without even fucking knowing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because like a big gaslight that I don't think people think is gaslighting, but like I go home and I'm like, wait a second, you bitch.
Yeah.
Is like when someone says, how about we be adults about this? Who the fuck are you to decide what being an adult is?
Yeah.
You have defined that whatever you're choosing as the pretense to this conversation, what you're presenting is the mature adult way to go about it, and completely invalidating my viewpoint as childish.
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck are you to believe that, to choose that?
Yeah.
And again, those are things that you only think after the situation's over, and you can't call them and be like,
you know
hey,
what?
wait.
Just to connect to that point, I just thought of something. Yeah, I know. That's super frustrating. I don't know. It's just I don't know. I'm definitely working on it, but I feel like at some point you kind of just learn that I don't know. It's good to be there for yourself too, and like just put up, I wouldn't say walls, but kind of like know where to draw the line.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, remind yourself like I'm not a bad person for like kind of, protecting my peace and whatever.
Yeah.
But I also think as you like, do you feel like there was like a turning point where you started to like kind of just be more cautious of like how much energy you put into things compared
100%.
to before? Do you think there was like Do you look back
Mm-hmm.
at a point in time and just kind of be like, why did I kind of let that happen? Do you
100%.
feel like you do that a lot?
100%.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think this. I'm not saying that women don't get this, but
Okay.
especially as a man,
Yeah.
anytime a woman has hurt me is usually followed by a long laundry list of learning lessons.
Okay.
And that can be hurt in a romantic sense, that could be hurt in a friendship sense, that could be hurt. There's so many ways to go about it. Like, I think the first thing that helped with my personal character development was just not getting any women. Like, just like the sheer lack of female options that were available to me at a
Yeah.
time made me go, okay, it can't be just every woman doesn't like me, but
Mhm.
they're still the problem. Maybe I'm the one common thing in all of these situations.
Yeah.
Maybe I should look at myself, which is when I started dressing better, when I started taking more care of myself, when I started um, just wanting to be better. And then you start getting better, you start getting girls, you
Mhm.
get a girl that you really like, she breaks your heart, you get a new list of lessons,
Yeah.
and then so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But then I got to a point where I was I was getting women and
Mhm.
life was good, quote unquote. And everything was coming up Millhouse and I was like, okay, awesome. But then they're in a sea full of all the women that you can get, there's just one that you can't. And now that's a new lesson.
Yeah.
Just because you can have everything doesn't mean you can have anything,
Mhm.
or vice versa for that. It works either way.
Mhm.
And that comes with its own lessons. And I think that, which was something that I more so recently was had to learn. That was when I started being like, okay, I need to be careful where I put my care and effort, because people will keep you in their lives in ways that you don't necessarily want to be
Mhm.
for their own benefit, but keep you far enough away that it doesn't benefit you the way you want it to be.
Mhm.
And having to deal with that when the situation arises again makes you act differently, because humans don't like pain, and
Yeah.
we want to avoid the hurt of what we've been through. And yeah, I think unfortunately a lot of the life lessons I've learned that go beyond relationships and beyond women have been taught to me from pain through women.
Yeah. That's pretty intense.
Eh.
I feel like the way you were saying how, like, you know, it starts as one lesson and
Mm.
then it goes to something else and now it's a new lesson.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's weird because that's just as I'm getting older, saying that as someone who's 21, which I feel like in 10 years I'd be like, relax,
You're
like
still getting older.
I guess I am yeah, I'm getting older. I feel like everything is a lesson and it's
Mm-hmm.
like you're constantly learning things, and the way you're saying that you learned a lot of it through pain, more specifically for you, was you said through women. Um it's so weird because in the moment, a lot of the time, pain like that, as much as we want to avoid it, it's sometimes the most beautiful in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I've looked at a lot of situations in my life where I was in like gut wrenching pain, like bad, like couldn't leave my room. And it's it's beautiful in a way, like to a certain extent, just because you learn so much about yourself and you kind of like learn how to navigate through a lot of things in a different way. But it is important to remember that everything is always a lesson in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that lesson is because, in my opinion, one day, you know, I don't think you ever just have it all figured out. I think you're just constantly learning through pain.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's weird because in the moment it kind of feels like the end of the world, at least for me. A lot of the time when I feel pain, it's like
Mm-hmm.
super extreme. I know you understand that as a water sign, maybe, unless I'm just
No, as a
unless I'm just
triple water sign.
stereotyping. Unless Oh yeah, you are a triple water sign, right?
Yeah,
Your rising and
I'm
moon is.
Scorpio sun, I'm a Pisces moon, and a
That's
Cancer rising.
that's crazy, Philip. Like that's
It's a
crazy.
lot of emotions that run through these
Yeah.
veins.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like as a Pisces
Mm-hmm.
sun, I'm Gemini moon and rising. I haven't done a lot of like look into what that means,
Interesting.
but I'm sure I do it someday and try to figure out more about that. But
We talked about this on what will be 2 podcasts ago.
oh my
Your
God.
rising is it's kind of like the face that you
Yeah.
exude when people first meet you, and then your moon is more of your emotions,
Okay.
and your sun's your true self.
Mm-hmm.
So you apparently handle emotions like a Gemini. You present to be a Gemini,
Yeah.
but when it boils down, the
You're a
Pisces
Pisces
swims.
at core. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can say I've used it a lot of the time to like justify to myself why I take things so
Haven't
um
we all?
yeah, heavily. I'm like, can I just get one answer of why I'm like feel like the world's ending? But yeah, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the time like I am pretty grateful though. I feel like there's two ways to look at things. I'm pretty grateful that I feel things like very deeply
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot of like the best experiences I've had in my life that I feel like I felt like to its full potential. Like this is, sometimes I would experience things that made me feel like, oh, like this is so perfect in every way. Like it could be just like having a picnic with my friends, and I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful. And they're like, oh my God, you're so like emotional. Like, you know
Good.
what I mean? Yeah. And I'm
Good.
like, you know what? There's two ways to look at that. Like, I'm actually, but then there's the downside of when something kind of hurts,
Mm-hmm.
you feel it. But yeah, at the end of the day, it is a beautiful thing.
Nah, man, romanticize everything.
Yeah. I romanticize the shit out of everything.
There's two things. One thing about the pain thing. The best things in life are on the other side
Of
of
fear.
pain,
Okay.
fear,
Yeah.
and being uncomfortable. Like, yeah, like again, that middle part of 2023 sucked so much ass. But
Mm-hmm.
this last part of 2024 has been so fun, and it's been
Yeah.
so cool meeting new people and trying new things and all the rest of it. And I had a really cool thing to say that I lost.
Yeah.
Fuck.
You lost it.
Romanticizing everything. It makes you appreciate the things that you have. Like, so like I get shit a lot again from women, but it is what it is. I get a lot of shit from women for falling in love too fast
Okay.
and for like really feeling emotions when I feel them,
Yeah.
because it takes a lot for me to actually like someone. Like I rarely meet a girl and I'm like, no, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
about it. But when I do, I do.
Yeah.
I made a TikTok about this the other day about, according to movies, it's called the Dulcinea effect.
Okay. I've
It's a
never heard of
trope
that.
in movies
Okay.
that is a man is ready to quest for, uh, kill for, and marry a woman he met 5 minutes ago.
Oh God.
Yeah, and it's a thing.
Yeah.
Um, but I relate to it because when I find a woman that makes me feel a way, she makes me feel a way immediately, and that's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the time, that's a little bit of a detriment to myself because a lot of times it'll scare people away, or depending on the situation, women will be like, oh, I thought this wasn't serious, and I was like, I went into this not thinking it was serious either.
Yeah.
But then I found out I liked you, and sorry about it, it's not changing, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Um, which sucks in one aspect, but another aspect, I get the privilege of feeling this. I don't want to say love, but like this intense emotion,
Yeah.
and this a feeling of love, regardless of it's being in love or
Yeah.
like saying I love you, love, but like this feeling of love and admiration for this person so early on, and seeing him in this wonderful light. I get to do that so much earlier than many people get to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
And in so, I've got to just experience that feeling of love so much in my life.
Yeah.
And just because it's not reciprocated necessarily, or it takes a little bit longer for someone to reciprocate it to me, doesn't necessarily invalidate the way that I'm feeling. And it's a reminder that if someone can make you feel so deeply, and hurts so deeply in another tense, they can make you do another person can make it happen again, and you'll only appreciate it that much more because you have experienced it before and you experienced the pain that came with it when you weren't allowed to have it anymore.
Yeah.
And one day, if God is willing and all that fun stuff, you'll find someone that reciprocates it 100% in the way that you do, and you can feel all those feelings together, and you don't need to worry about the pain that normally ensues afterwards. And you can appreciate it even that much more because you know what you have and you know it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I agree.
And you can call me an emotional water sign bitch if you want to.
Honestly, I wouldn't call you that.
I mean, I would. You would. Okay,
yeah,
you would.
Yeah.
But like,
I know how it is. I feel like, I romanticize this shit out of everything. Like, everything to me is like one big movie. I don't know why.
Oh, buddy, we've talked about this.
Yeah, we have. And it's so funny because once again, like, my friends will always like make fun of me in a way and be like, you literally think you're in a movie, but it's like,
oh, I'm the main character.
That's me. Like, I feel like I'm walking down the street. Have you ever watched 500 Days of Summer? You know the part where he's like
you want to see the most? You want to see the most? I saw that on TikTok today.
It's like when you realize it's not that deep. Is it that one?
Yeah.
I love that one.
The most recently added song to my playlist.
Oh my god! Yeah, the Smiths. I love the Smiths.
I love the Smiths.
I said I love the Smiths. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, but it's like everything to me is that scene.
That fucking scene makes me laugh so hard because literally, the most recent time that I slept with this girl that I wanted to sleep with. The next morning, I was in my apartment and I was just fucking dancing.
My god!
And I was in an unbreakably good mood.
Yeah.
And like nothing could bring me down.
Yeah.
And I just thought of that scene. I saw the waterfall.
Yeah, the waterfall. A flash mob starts. They're like, everyone's dabbing you up. You're like saying hi to the strangers. Like, yeah, I've definitely. Yeah.
Were you working? Were you still working at St. Philip's when I drove somewhere kind of far away to go see a girl?
Yes.
And then I showed up the next morning and I was like,
yes, I remember that. Yes.
And it was
I remember it was
Domenica.
Yeah.
When I showed her my back and she was like, "Oh, did you get a cat, Phil?" And
oh my god, I remember that. You just hit like a core memory. I remember that.
Oh fuck.
I love how we would just come in with like the most bizarre like situations. I remember that 1 month where I was just
depressed every single fucking day.
Depressed, and we would wake up at like 7:45, and like I would just have an almond croissant.
Earlier, we had to get there for 7.
Yeah, sorry, we'd wake up much earlier than that. But yeah, that scene, I feel like I've like felt that scene in my core so many times, just from like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it also comes with like an appreciation for just like that feel good type of moment that you have in the day that I feel like not a lot of people like pay more attention to. Like, you know, when you wake up and the sun's out and it's like, oh, today's gonna be a good day, and like people are in the street and there's someone like, I don't know, there's so many ways to look at it. Someone handing out like roses and stuff. I'm like, oh, this is a beautiful day. And I feel like literally like that scene.
Every day is a good day to have a good day.
Exactly.
And listen, I think it's beautiful for you, and I think it's beautiful for us that we have an appreciation for life that unfortunately a lot of people might overlook.
Yeah.
Like I saw a guy playing like this, like I don't know what it's called, but like a very unique string instrument on a bridge not too far from here. And I just stopped and just like listened to him for 5 minutes, and he was just great.
I've done that so many times. Even when I've traveled like to different places, there's times that I'll just stop and I'll just like appreciate it, and I don't know, I just want to like hug them. I just want to hug people. Like I just feel like there's so many people just need that. I've come across a lot of people that don't see things this way, and there's a lot of people who are kind of living in this more I guess negative kind of
nihilistic even.
Maybe, yeah, this kind of no, not even just more like I don't know. I've always been big on like people just get a little, and this could be like super weird to say, and it's to an extent, but too caught up in the little things that just they don't really matter at the end of the
You're right.
day.
Well, I mean, like, what's one thing that like a heavy majority of people in movies and otherwise say on their deathbed? They say, "Don't stress the little things.
Yeah.
Appreciate the little things,
Yeah.
and stop to smell the roses."
Exactly. I feel like there's I remember I watched this video. I think it was Denzel Washington, where he was speaking for a class graduate,
Mm.
and he said something like, "Imagine you're on your." Oh,
But we'll finish this up and then we'll go to
okay.
break.
Yeah, he said something like, "Imagine on your deathbed, you're kind of laying there, and surrounding you is the ghosts of everything that you could have been, but you just didn't take the chance."
Mm.
And I literally live by that. I think about that a lot of the time
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, you only live once,
Mm-hmm.
or you only die once. You live every day. I love that one. And
It's
I feel
good.
like you can always just, go for it. Try something, compliment a stranger. I don't know, tell someone you love them,
Tell
stand
someone
up
you
for
love them.
yourself. Yeah, make more art, listen to more music, don't be rude, and just like spread kindness. And, you're literally only here once, and it's not for a long amount of time, so you might as well.
I was gonna say something. I was gonna give you like another quote that I heard, but I like that as
That topped it off.
that was perfect.
Okay,
uh,
good.
we're gonna go to break now. Again, if I have a sponsor, you'll hear it now. If I don't, see you in a few minutes.
See ya.
And we're back. Um, I think what you said is a great way to look at that, and was a perfect way to sum that up. There's the quote that I was thinking about was it's Goggins said it on Joe Rogan,
Mhm.
and as much as I'm not a fan of Goggins, I like some of his stuff, and one of the things that he kind of harped on about was you get to heaven and they're saying David Goggins, Marine, athlete, motivational speaker, father, blah blah blah, and 170, and he's like, well, I'm none of those things. I got the wrong David Goggins. I'm 230 pounds. I'm not. I got a heart condition. I'm not an athlete. I'm not a Navy SEAL. And then they're like, no. That's who you could have been.
Yeah.
And he's right. You got and we poo poo people is the way that I've been saying this a lot recently, in the way of everything's cringy until you're good at it.
Yeah, that's
until you
true.
succeed.
But I feel like nothing's cringy. I feel like it's only cringy if you make it cringy. I feel like people kind of like just project most of the time. Like that's another thing actually that I very deeply like could talk about is people who think everything is embarrassing or everything is cringy.
Listen, there's some things that are objectively cringy and embarrassing. Like if you've
But
seen
are
like
there?
yes, like if you've seen the try not to cringe challenges on TikTok.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Like those are inherently cringy, but we don't judge or cringe at the guys that are doing it because they're doing it rhetorically and they're doing it as a joke and because they're making money off of doing it.
Yeah.
But it's objectively cringy. Having a peanut allergy, objectively embarrassing.
Actually?
You get taken out of this world by a peanut?
Yeah.
Objectively embarrassing.
I mean, I have a bird phobia, so maybe I'm objectively embarrassing for that. Put a bird in front of me, I'm more scared than if there was like a spider crawling on my face or like a venomous snake. Which is weird, but it's like a crazy fact about me that only some people know. I guess now more.
Now everyone knows.
Now you guys all know, but I have like a deep bird phobia. Like it goes deep.
Interesting.
Like
does it stem from somewhere, you think?
I don't
did you get
think
attacked
so.
by a bird when you were a kid?
Not that I can remember, and my family can't either. It's just something that since I can remember, it's not necessarily that I'm scared of them, but the sound of their wings flapping and like the look of how they move, I get like
All
I
birds.
feel sick. Like I feel like I need to shower. I can't explain. Like if a bird flies around me too close, I will feel like I need to like rip my skin off. It's really bizarre. But it's weird because I'll laugh at it because I'm not scared of spiders. I'm not scared of ghosts. I'm not scared of heights. I'm not scared of snakes, lions, tigers, and bears, all that stuff. My. but put a bird, even if it's like a pet domesticated bird in front of me, and I'm knocking it out and I'm running.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What? Interesting.
Anyways, yeah, that's
Well,
a weird fact.
but the fact that people feel embarrassment
Hmm.
suggests that somehow, some way, it's an evolutionary benefit to be able to feel embarrassed. So, like, do you think there's, I mean, okay, granted, we don't live in a society anymore that, like, we need to be worried about. So, the reason that humans love sticking, like, being in the pact
Hmm.
and love fitting in and not straying from the norm and all of that is because if you were different back in the good old days of hunter gatherer and shit, if you stray too far from the pact, you get eaten.
Hmm.
If you they can differentiate between you for any specific reason, if they can pick you out as a weakling or just something that they can collectively target, you get eaten and you
Yeah.
don't survive, you don't reproduce, etc. So if embarrassment of being different is only applicable in our lives for the fact of being um well, the train of thought has left the station, is only applicable for not getting eaten.
Yeah.
Is there any real reason nowadays to be embarrassed by anything, even a bird phobia or a
Yeah.
peanut allergy?
Yeah. I honestly don't think there is. I think that honestly, embarrassment is not a thing, at least in my life.
Mm.
I feel like a lot of the time I'll just say what I want or do what I want or, dress how I want.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on the day, how I feel, like whatever. And I don't know. I just feel like trying to constantly follow what other people are doing and trying to like kind of be a part of that pack ultimately leads you nowhere half the time, and a lot of the time just drives you to kind of be like super lost with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like just sounds corny and pretty cliche at this point, but like being yourself and not worrying about, being embarrassed of anything is kind of just the way to go,
Mm-hmm.
because who cares? Like there's genuinely only one of you. You might as well just, do whatever you want. Who cares about embarrassment? I don't think I find many things embarrassing anymore as much as I used to. When I was a kid, I cared about like everything. I
Oh
cared.
yeah.
Yeah, when you're younger, all your friends are like embedding into your mind, like, oh my God, like all these different fears. And you're like, oh my God, should I be worried about that too? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, you shouldn't, because it doesn't matter.
No.
I don't, yeah. Anyways, to answer your question, I don't think there really is anything to be embarrassed of. Like, I guess everyone's just trying to kind of figure out more about themselves. A lot of people kind of have to go through that phase of losing themselves and trying to like be what they're not.
Mm.
But eventually always come around to just, fuck it. I'm just going to be whatever I want. Why does it matter?
Mm-hmm. I mean, you'll never be as good at being someone else as someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no one in the world that is going to be as good at being you as you.
Yeah.
It sounds corny, but like in every movie, in every almost any person one thing that their parents said to them on the first day of school was just be yourself
Yeah.
and people will like you.
Yeah.
And it's the older I get, the more true it gets. And
100%.
I don't smoke weed anymore, but one thing that I noticed a long time ago from smoking weed was we should have listened to our parents more.
Yeah.
Within reason.
To an extent.
To an extent. There are caveats to that statement.
Yeah.
But when it's stuff like, hey, don't do drugs.
Yeah.
Don't smoke cigarettes. Don't succumb to peer pressure. Don't have stupid, meaningless, unprotected sex. Blah, 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 blah. They're not saying it because they hate fun.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying it because they have lived a life already. They've been through what you are going through.
Yeah.
And they've seen how shitty it ends up for so many people.
Mm-hmm.
Like where for people who vape or for people who smoked and now, or for the current generation, more so for people who vape, we're already fucking seeing it, but like 10, 20 years down the line, we're gonna be like, oh yeah, my uncle who vapes instead of my uncle
Yeah.
who smokes. It's not going away, and
Yeah.
people don't realize that they're gonna have these addictions for the rest of their lives, and then the next generation's gonna get brought up, and everyone's gonna be like, dude, just don't vape, don't try to be
Yeah.
cool. It's not cool. It's gross. It's bad for you, and they're not gonna listen, and then they're gonna do it, and then they're so on and fucking so
Yeah.
forth. Um, but yeah, dialing it back from the parents thing, be yourself.
Yeah.
There's nothing
You
more
might as well.
there's nothing more attractive as a man or as a girl than being yourself. And I don't even mean that in the way of being able to attract anyone, but when you are yourself and you do things that feel right to you and feel proper and feel like they're being true to yourself, you attract the people to your life
Mm-hmm.
that you want there in the first place. Why would you want to attract people that don't have the same interests with you?
Yeah.
For what? For why? In the way that I dress, in the way that I carry myself, in the places that I go, and the people that I keep, it makes it very, very easy for people who don't share my direction in life to not come into my life. And it makes it very, very easy for people who recognize me for what I am and relate to it to enter it and it to feel natural and fine. I had a girl the other day ask me, she was like, Philip, or tell me, I guess. She was like, Philip, you want to get some baddies? And I was like, sure. Like, what do you mean? She was like, you need to go to Sweat and Tonic. And I was like, what do you
Oh
mean? I was
God.
like, what do you mean? She was like, Sweat and Tonic. It's like hot yoga, Pilates and
Yeah.
shit. Like all like the baddest bitches go there. And I was like, no. And she was
Yeah.
like, what do you mean no? I was like, that's not my brand.
Yeah.
I don't go to hot yoga. So if I try to become a hot yoga biddy, it's going to feel and look ingenuine.
Yeah.
B, hot yoga women, basic, like aloe wearing, Stanley Cup holding.
Not your thing.
Not my thing. And she was like, okay, then where would you go to meet women? And I was like, Kensington Market.
The mental asylum.
The mental
I'm just
asylum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be argued.
A therapy
No.
office.
Therapy
Could
office.
be argued.
Yeah.
Psychology class.
Yeah. So
Um,
yeah, that's a deep one.
Gotta love it. The library. Nah.
I knew you were gonna say that kind of. I
Yeah?
don't know. I was gonna say the library, but I thought it was funnier to say. Yeah, two definitely different types.
Exactly.
Two different aesthetics. Like,
And like
Yeah.
there's some crossover. It happens.
Yeah.
Like you could be Sweat and Tonic in the morning, Kensington by noon type girl.
thrifting by night.
Yeah. And like, hey, it happens, sure.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I would I'm not gonna try to go to be someone or pretend to be someone so that I can attract someone who I don't really have any care in attracting. And like
Yeah.
that's beyond like the actual relationship aspect of that's just could be friends, that could be jobs, that can be anything. I'm successful in the job that I currently do, not because I just decided one day like this is what I want to do. It's because it just felt right to me.
Yeah.
And it felt natural, and I was attractive to this job, so it found me. And I truly believe that, and I truly believe that's how the universe works. It's not about prayer. It's not about it is about manifestation to some extent, but it's more in the way of if you stay true to yourself and believe that anything is possible, the things that are meant for you and possible to you will find you.
I agree with that.
That was my long-winded answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like it. I agree. I think, like they say, like be the energy you want to attract. Just be yourself, and don't worry about what other people are doing, and you will. Whatever's meant to be will be. It will flow to you. You don't. I don't believe in like chasing like that. I don't believe that you should, kind of like put all this energy into chasing after anything. I think you should just do what feels right. Go with, whatever the flow, if that's what you want to call it. Whatever is meant to be will kind of just naturally, especially being yourself. I feel like trying to be something you're not and putting up like that facade like you said, will just kind of attract, it will attract people who are attracted to something you're not. And
Mm-hmm.
how long, can
How
you
long
kind
is that gonna
how
last?
long is that going to last before the true colors kind of come out? And it's like, this is why do that? Why not just like, what do you really have? I always think that because I don't know. I feel like a lot of the times, some may call me extroverted. I'd say I'm more of an ambivert. My friends refer to me more of like an
Mm.
extrovert. I think I could be both at different times. Sometimes I don't want to talk to people. I want to be alone.
Oh, I've seen you in the mode of like, don't come near me,
Yeah.
don't speak to me.
Yeah, I've been in that. You know what? And I didn't even realize.
And then I've also seen you look at my new dance.
Yeah. Oh my
I've
God, that's
seen the
so accurate. If
duality.
you ask anyone that like I work with now, they would probably say the exact same thing, which is so funny. But yeah, it took me a while to realize that I can get into that mode where people are like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm fine. I'm just like I don't have the energy today to
Mm.
really talk to people. I'm kind of in my own like thing. I don't want to be approached. Usually it's in the mornings. That seems to happen, but um a lot of the times people will my friends will refer to me more of an extrovert, but I think it's more just because like, what do you really have to lose with kind of just being yourself? Like, sometimes I'll just like we were talking about before, like kind of approaching like strangers in a way, which
Mm.
is there's kind of more to that than just like approaching strangers. I'm saying more like complimenting people and being open-minded to conversations and like communicating, and even just people in your life that you haven't like seen in a while, and just reaching out and being like, hey, like how's everything. It's just I feel like it should be more normalized. Personally, I think it's not. I think a lot of people tend to like shut out a little more.
Mm.
I've been very guilty of that, of having phases in my life where I kind of shut everyone out. And at the end of the day, I just see it as like going back to the extrovert thing. I just see it as like, what do you have to lose? Like, you know, dance around and do whatever you want. And it's like, who cares? Like, what you really have nothing to lose with being yourself. And once you do that, you kind of, there's a quote by Jim Carrey. Oddly enough, we just spoke about him during the break, but, or briefly brought him up, but where he says, once you've reached a level of not worrying about what anybody thinks of you, that's like the truest level of freedom. And I
Mm.
think it's true. As long as you can just be yourself, you have nothing to lose, and, go with the flow. I'd say that's what I do. I kind of just, all right, at least I try to, as much as I can, is kind of just go with the flow, and whatever's meant to happen will happen. And if not, it's completely out of my control, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then I think the next step up from that is don't care what other people think, and within reason.
Yeah,
Don't
100%.
care what you think.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, no, I shouldn't be doing that. It's so stupid. Why?
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I'm gonna let myself enjoy it,
Yeah.
and that would be so freeing.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel as if though you're battling your inner child to like, or like there's a part of you that there, or the little kid had to deal with something or didn't get to be some way, so now that you're allowed to be that way, something in you still wants to be that way, but you won't like let yourself? Or do you feel like, yeah, anything to do with your childhood
Mm-hmm.
and how that manifests in the things that you do or don't do now?
Yeah. I feel like it's pretty intricate in a way in my situation specifically. Like looking back at when I was a child, I feel like there was a lot of things. I think as a child I was just as um I guess you can say weird. I don't want to use that word, but like a lot of people have brought to my attention that they think I'm like weird, which is fine. I kind of take as a compliment, but that's the only word.
I wouldn't call you weird,
Yeah,
but I
and what even
wouldn't
is
I
weird?
don't think you're basic.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So I guess we could say like put it that way. I feel like, and I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you.
Of
But
course.
I think a lot of people have like kind of brought that to my attention, and I was always like that since I was a child. I'd be doing like these weird things, and I'd be using like my imagination in the most creative ways. Like I had, growing up, I had a lot of like neighbors that were
Mm.
much younger than I was, and I was kind of, um, I would spend a lot of time with them, and I there was, I don't even know how to word this, but we would all just, okay, the best way to word it is that I loved to just see people coming out of their shell. And because, there's people that are more shy, like right
When
off
they're
the
just
bat and more
kitties,
to
yeah.
themselves. And it was so nice. And I recognize this now that I'm older, and this is it's such a small example of that, but to see people come out of their shell and like, this is a time for you to not worry about what anybody thinks because it's just us and we're like making these little dances and we're dancing around and using our imagination. We would like I would make up little stories like around Halloween that like the park beside my house was like a haunted house and we'd be like, look over there, and they'd be like, oh yeah, I see it. And we'd be like making up these weird things, and it was just so, I feel like I still do those types of things.
Mm.
I really like to see people come out of their shell. When I'm around them, I like people to feel that like you can be yourself around me because I don't think I'm a judgmental person in that way. I think I just love when people can kind of be their true selves. I feel like I've always had that, but there was a lot of the time growing up, obviously as kids are, very cruel,
Mm.
that I dealt with a lot of like bullying, like in my younger years, like elementary school and whatever. And it would kind of just be a lot of people, like stomping on your light, just being like, don't do that, like you're
Yeah.
weird. And a lot of that, I guess now you could say, was character development. I look back and it's pretty, like, I don't know, some of it was pretty severe. It felt like it could have been handled a little differently. Like I dealt with a lot of weird things,
Mm.
of like just people being so rude for no reason. Like there was a phase in my life where I like wouldn't be able to like go to school without having this like gut wrenching stomach ache of just anxiety, that a lot of the times I would like go to my nonna's house and just have to like sit there for the first hour that school started and be like, I can't go. Like a lot of the times I would get homesick. I wanted to just, be at home where I felt like I wasn't being attacked by like kids, like in so many ways. I was so like scared of other kids, but
Mm.
I felt like when I came home and I was around, like even just my neighbors and stuff, that we were all so close. And even I have a lot of cousins, and I would be around them a lot growing up. It's just, I always felt like I could just, be myself. And um where am I going with this? I don't know, but I think,
Keep going.
yeah, I think now I feel like I'm yapping, but I feel like now
Yapping is in 2024.
yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. I feel like now I still kind of do that. I don't know. I think there is still a lot of inner child that comes out of me in a lot of ways, though. Like, I don't know what it is. I think I'm in touch with my inner child in a lot of ways because I still dance around to like High School Musical and stuff, and I do things that I know I loved to do as a kid, or you know, like a big thing for me growing up was like traveling. I had never
Mm.
left Ontario, Canada, until my first time was in 2020. It was my first time, and I ended up getting a passport in high school for the first time, and that healed my in a way, like my inner child in a lot of ways, because I always wanted to travel, and it was a huge,
Sorry, I just realized that when I forgot the 2020, you were still in high school. That threw me
yeah,
off for a second.
yeah. Well, it was the end, so it was
Yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
yeah. But I don't know. I always wanted to travel growing up, and it was such a big deal to me. I felt like the Truman Show. I don't know, something about it growing up. I was like, how do people get out of this like bubble? Like, why? Like, why can't I just leave? Like, I want to be on like a, like a beach, or like in New York. I always wanted to go to New York. It was one of my biggest dreams growing up. And a lot of people would say to me, like, New York, like, you just drive there. Like, why is it such a big deal? But to me, it was a big deal because I had never left
Mm.
the province. I didn't know what it was like. And then when I got older and I finally started to be able to travel on my own, it was like a whole new world for me. And it was, things like that I know I loved and wanted to do so much as a kid. And it's like, all right, you can take the lead now. Like you're an adult,
Mm.
But I don't know. I think my inner child comes out a lot of different ways, good and bad. It's pretty intense. How about you?
Um, I feel like my inner, like, the things that my inner child like wants to see, has a lot to do with validation, and how I hate that most of like so many of things that I talk about tie back into women, but is definitely heavily just about validation from women in general.
Yeah.
Because growing up, not very cute and being bullied for being gay, even though I wasn't gay,
Mm-hmm.
and women looking at me with just like this like nasty look that like only a seventh grade girl can give,
Yeah.
but like so rude. And it gave me this need for validation from pretty women. And that
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean like sexual validation or relationships, but just like I always keep women in my life so that I like remember that women like me. And so
Yeah.
which I don't know if that's necessarily healthy. Um but that, and then I think the biggest other thing would be remembering to watch movies a lot and to go to like actual shows and like just like doing like little drama things now and again, and if a friend ever has a need for it, doing a little acting project
Yeah.
or doing this, or just because growing up like I was always putting on characters and putting on
Yeah. So was
shows,
I.
and like there's a picture of me in like some like kindergarten like how to raise kids book of me like role playing in the kitchen with like talking on the phone and being like so Italian, being like no Mario this is it. And it's like this like 3-year-old,
Yeah.
and that's how I always was. But somewhere along the way I started getting bullied for that. But when I got to high school and I took drama, I just kind of kept it, not that I kept it quiet, but I kept it separate from the rest of my life
Yeah.
because the people there who were in that class didn't judge it because they were in it too and they enjoyed it too, and we
Yeah.
saw the eye to eye. And I remember there was one time one of my friends from outside of drama decided he was in the mood to be in drama, and he was taking the piss out of me the entire time, and I was like, dude, if you're gonna enter this world, like part of my world, it's fine, like I can't tell you not to be here, but why are you here if you're just gonna shit on it the whole time?
Yeah.
um which almost resulted in him dropping out of it. Then he ended up staying and he apologized and it was a whole thing. But um to this day I try my best to do more. Like I try to go to like more art shows and
Yeah.
theater productions and whatever. And being down here, it's been easier to ever than ever to do so, but I haven't gone. And something, and like I don't like that because I do want to do these things, but other things take priority in my life or at least distract me. But I know that like if someone asked me to do it, I would make it a priority. Um which is showing that like yeah, I'm down to do it and it's something that I want to do, but because I want to prioritize spending time with people over my individual needs, I will keep putting off doing the things that I want to do in case someone else wants to see me and do something that maybe only they want to do.
Yeah.
Um, but that also leads me back to the women thing because I tend to look for women who I feel like would ask me to do those things.
Yeah.
Maybe, and like I don't know why I can't enjoy it by myself,
Mm-hmm.
but like I feel the need to enjoy it with other people, and then more so specifically a woman. So I think through all these pockets, even though it's supposed to be like me like talking about someone else's situations, a lot of people ask me questions, which is fine. And the more and more that I talk and I think through why I feel the things that what I feel, I have a very strange relationship with women in
Mm-hmm.
general that I think I need to like delve more into.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's weird. I think your inner child comes out in all situations. And I don't know, even in good ways and bad ways. I feel like everyone's always in touch with it. And I feel like there's a lot of people that are more aware of it than others. Some people wouldn't even really discuss a topic like this because they're not entirely, you know, big on stuff like inner child
Mm.
talking and stuff, but I think it's really important. I think there's a lot of things that you go through growing up that you don't even realize is like literally just the stem root of so many things in your life.
Oh yeah.
Like see how you're saying the way you're saying you won't really take the initiative on your own
Mm.
unless I'm sure there's a huge part of that that really has to do with kind of being uh shut out whilst trying to like do that as a child until you're in that drama class and everything's validated because there's it's kind of a no in my opinion it's a no judgment zone in drama
Mm.
classes.
Oh
I
yeah.
loved drama class. So that could have even created this, oh, I'm safe when someone else wants to do it and like I'm
Mm.
kind of there. It's like, oh yeah, like I do too. But if
It's
you're
not weird when you're in a group of people who are
yeah,
all weird.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that just goes back to like the whole, trying to fit into the pack, which is so something we're all just trying so hard to
It all connects.
it all connects. It's like it's something that we're all just trying so hard to at least I think kind of steer away from instead of being a follower. But it is hard. Like how you're saying you're kind of in the city and it's right there in front of you, but you just won't,
Have you ever watched When Harry Met Sally?
no.
You'd love it.
Okay.
So watch it at some point.
Okay.
I have a few movies that you need to watch if you haven't. But
Yeah.
we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Harry Met Sally is a movie that I bring up kind of often, actually. Harry and Sally meet when they're both kids and they're both stupid. Harry makes a pass at Sally. Sally rejects him. They go their separate ways. And then they end up meeting again later in life when Harry got divorced. Sally ended her long-term relationship. So they decide to be friends.
Mm-hmm.
As most rom-coms do, they end
Yeah.
up together. But Sally, so in the movie, Harry is taking his divorce really harsh. Like
Okay.
he's taking it really, really rough. And he's like, I'm not ready to be in a relationship. I miss her, whatever. But Sally seems to be very fine with this situation that's showing up for her. She's like, yeah, we went separate ways. It's fine. It wasn't about this, blah, blah, blah. Then the year goes on. You see everything they get up to. And then one night, Sally finds out that, one of the reasons they broke up was because the guy didn't want to get married. He's like, I just don't want to get married. I don't want to have kids. And Sally was like, well, I do want to get married and I do want to have kids. So this is done.
Mm-hmm.
She finds out about a year later that he's getting married, that the guy is getting married to someone else and is like expecting a kid or what. I don't know if he's expecting the kid necessarily, but is getting married to someone else.
Yeah.
She has a mental breakdown and she's like, because she realized it wasn't the fact that he didn't want to get married. He just didn't want to marry her.
Yeah.
So like it rocks her world and she goes crazy and they're talking about it. And she was like, one of his things about not getting married was we can have sex on the kitchen floor whenever we want. We can fly off to Paris at a moment's notice. And then Harry was like, so how many times did you have sex on the kitchen floor? And she was like, not once. It's really cold down there. How many times did you fly off to Paris? Never. We did go to like Michigan for lunch one day, but other than that, you make up all these things. We're tying it back now. You make up all these things of like, oh, well, if you do this, then I can do this, and
Mm-hmm.
it can be like this. But how often is it really like that?
Yeah.
And that's a long-winded movie explanation to get to where I was going.
Yeah. No, it's okay.
But yeah, like people will stop themselves from doing the things that they want in life. Fuck. What was I hate that. What was the original point that you made that I was going off of? Because I had somewhere to go with this.
I think it was like the not taking your own initiative and like waiting for other people to want to do it. Was that it?
At some point it was that.
And then it was maybe everyone trying to like fit in.
Yeah, it was fitting in. It all connects back. Well, I lost it.
It's okay.
When I
We're gonna
watch
have
this
to
back,
cut that at a certain point to make it look like nothing
look a
happened.
lot better. When I watch this back, I'll be like, fuck, that was my point.
Yeah, I know.
But nonetheless, yeah, like You um I wonder if me not taking my initiative and wanting to do things for my own sake has to do with the fact that like I always had my sister around.
Okay.
So anytime I was like, I'm gonna do this, my sister was like, well, I'm gonna do it with you. So
Oh.
I just always got used to having someone there to do it with.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds worse than I wanted it to. That did
No,
not come out right.
it makes
Uh,
sense.
yeah, it just didn't sound right.
Yeah.
Anyways, um, I really mad that because I had a good point.
It's okay.
Oh well. Other movies you should watch. Have you ever seen Moonstruck?
No.
Watch that. Cher and young Nick Cage.
Okay.
Fantastic. Have you watched Princess Bride?
No.
Oh, Leanna.
Never watched.
If you know Princess Bride, you know why I'm mad. And then you probably won't know this one, but Strictly Ballroom. Those three movies all like made in the 80s, 90s. Very similar vibes, very quick-witted, humorous.
Yeah.
And the all three of those, if you like one of those movies, you'll like all of them. But
Mm-hmm.
if you don't understand any of them, you won't understand the other ones. But also, like, I won't be able to trust you if you don't like those three
Okay.
movies. So
I'll watch them.
okay,
I'm a big
good.
movie person, so we'll see.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, Leanna, we got about 4 minutes left before I wanted to cut things. Is there anything else you wanted to go off on before we call her?
I think I'm pretty satisfied.
Yeah.
How about you?
I mean, I'm just unsatisfied that I had a really good point that I lost.
Don't worry about it.
Lost my own point.
You'll just edit it in and put a voiceover of you on your laptop
Hey
or
guys,
something. Hey guys, so this
so
is what I was trying to say.
yeah,
Just it all makes sense. No, it's
it
fine.
all adds up in the
Yeah.
end. Any messages for anyone watching?
Any messages? That's a lot of pressure. One message I have, anyone's watching this is gonna be super random, but let's see. Be yourself. Do whatever you want, with to a certain extent, you know.
Be safe.
Be safe. Be yourself, and everything is gonna be okay. No matter what you're going through, you know, everything is gonna be fine. There's always a rainbow on the other side, eventually, and you know, go out, make that first step. Just be yourself because it does not matter. We're all gonna die one day, and you know, let that give you a bit of comfort. Nothing matters. We're all winging it. We're all in the same boat. Just spread more kindness and, you know, more love. Reach out a hand to people. You never know what people are going through. So, I guess that's all I would say.
The three things that I've been ending my journal entries off recently has been let it be,
It's a big one.
let
for
it
me.
go,
Yeah.
and let them.
Okay. Let it be. That's a big one for me.
There you
Let
go.
it be.
I don't got words. I should get some
No.
words.
Yeah, get some words.
We'll talk.
Get some words on there.
Well, Leanna, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming on.
Pleasure's mine. Thanks
Appreciate
for
it.
having me. I
To
had a
everyone-
blast.
To anyone watching, once again, hopefully I can. If people are actually sending in questions, I promise there will be an episode that has enough questions that I can answer them, or I could talk about them on a further episode. Follow my friend Leanna here. My girl Liz.
Yeah, we'll see if I even have TikTok by the time.
Oh, she might not have a TikTok anymore, but
I haven't posted in like a month. I'm starting to hate the app, so we'll see,
Valid.
guys.
there's gonna be stuff
Stuff.
around. There's gonna be stuff with to find her if she wants her to be.
Mhm.
This has been Philip with the Devil's Therapist podcast as always. And remember, guys, tell someone you love them, and of course, peace and love. Have a great day.
Bye, guys.